Well, seems like the mother of all deals has irked the United States. Just as India and the European Union finalized their free trade agreement in a big move to counter Donald Trump's tariff-driven trade policy, the US has doubled down on allegations that India's oil trade with Russia finances the war in EU-backed Ukraine. Scott Bessent, in an interview, said, and I quote, "We have put 25% tariffs on India for buying Russian oil." Guess what happened last week? The Europeans signed a trade deal with India. Just to be clear again, the Russian oil goes into India, the refined products come out, and the Europeans buy the refined products. They are financing the war against themselves. India and the European Union are set to formally announce their conclusion of negotiations and finalizations of the trade agreement, which is aimed at boosting economic ties between the two regions. Well, looks like US is clearly not happy with the India-EU free trade agreement. They have warning European Union that they are actually financing a war against them. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent made some bold claims saying that we put 25% tariffs on India for buying Russian oil, and that Russian oil goes into India, the refined products come out, and the Europeans will buy the refined products, which means that they are actually financing the war against themselves. India and European leaders are all set to formally announce the conclusion of their trade deals very soon. Well, the India-EU trade agreement can be seen as a counter to the US's tariff trade policy. Over 18 trillion pounds of EU market is an alternative to US, as India is now looking at other options after Donald Trump imposed 50% tariffs on India, highest in the world. FTA cuts tariffs and trade barriers between India and EU, opening markets for both the regions apart from US, reducing the dependency, which clearly is upsetting US at this point. India is diversifying its export destinations, a big boost to Indian exporters after the deal is formally signed, although the deal will be concluded and will be implemented by 2027. But a major boost for Indian exporters as they now shift from US markets due to Trump's heavy tariffs. India's bargaining power is at an all-time high. India has countered US's tariff threat by exploring other options in the European needs. Although there are some sticking points between the India-EU trade deal as well, agriculture and dairy, which usually is a protected sector by the India, which was also a sticking point in a trade deal which has not been finalized with the US as well, is agriculture and dairy. India has also rejected EU's demand to cut 95% of tariffs on goods, 95 goods. Sensitive sectors such as autos, wines are going to see phased reduction of tariffs. India has flagged concern of EU carbon border and strict standards as well. And India seeks to secure its data, easier professional mobility and the social security field in return of opening its large market. US seems to be threatened by India and EU's free trade agreement because both the countries are among the world's top 5 economies. India is among the world's fastest growing economy. Both sides share a push for strategic autonomy. India is diversifying its economic ties away now from China and US, reducing its dependency on according to the global uncertain atmosphere. From this deal, India is looking for a boost for labor-intensive sectors like textiles and leather. EU tariffs of 2 to 12% on Indian goods are likely to be reduced, making it the exporters big boost for exporters, making Indian goods cheaper in European markets. Sensitive sectors like agriculture and dairy are protected as India maintains the stand that any trade agreement, India's first priority will be its own nation's interest. With more deals coming in, with more market access, it is automatically going to increase and generate job opportunities and manufacturing growth. For EU, it gets an access to the world's fastest growing economy, a huge market for the automobiles as well. Big opportunity for premium European products. A big gain for EU's machinery, electronics and chemicals. Boost for European Union is expected in services, IP and digital trade. Well, Scott Bessent has gone out and he has said that the deal is nothing but Europeans financing a war against themselves. This can be seen, this is irking the United States because it can be seen as a collapse of the multilateral order. It is a rise of bilateralism as India is now focusing on one-on-one deals with economies, exploring other markets as well. India-EU FTA reflects a shift away from the multilateral trade. World Trade Organization's Doha round stalled since 2008. Multilateral platforms are failing to gain momentum, giving opportunity for India to shift their focus to free trade agreements with nations, bigger economies, bigger market access. It's beneficial for India because it turns into the diversifications of new markets, less dependence on US and China. Geopolitics is now driving decoupling, especially the US-China trade tensions, Trump going out and imposing tariffs. India is now countering it with other means by exploring more market.